How are rent rates determined for military housing? If you are curious about how rent rates are set for military housing, you are in the right place. Understanding this process can help service members and their families make informed housing choices. The Department of Defense plays a key role in determining these rates, specifically through the Basic Allowance for housing. First, the Department of Defense conducts local rental market surveys. These surveys are carried out by housing offices and contractors who look at vacant rental properties in the area around military installations. They gather data on rental prices for various housing types, such as apartments, townhouses, and single-family homes. Properties that are in poor condition or located in unsafe neighborhoods are not included in these surveys. Additionally, areas where civilian incomes do not match military incomes, or that have environmental hazards, are also excluded. Next, the Department of Defense calculates the median rental costs based on the survey data. They also consider average utility costs in the area, using national data from sources like the American Community Survey. The total housing cost, which is used to set the basic allowance for housing rates, combines the median rent and average utility costs. The basic allowance for housing rates are tailored to different military pay grades and family situations. The Department of Defense defines standard housing profiles for each pay grade. For example, an E for with dependents might have a typical housing profile that includes a one-bedroom apartment, while an O6 might be looking at a three-bedroom single-family home. The median rental costs for these profiles in the local market form the basis for the allowance. It is important to note that the basic allowance for housing rates are determined by the service member's duty station location, not where they actually live. This approach ensures fairness and encourages service members to live close to their duty stations. Even if a member chooses to live in a less expensive area farther away, their basic allowance for housing remains based on the costs of their duty station. The Department of Defense reviews and updates basic allowance for housing rates every year. This process reflects changes in local rental markets and utility costs. They also use statistical methods to adjust for areas with few rental vacancies or other unusual circumstances. Service members have the freedom to choose housing that fits their preferences and budgets. However, if they select housing that costs more than the median, they may need to cover some out-of-pocket expenses. The basic allowance for housing is designed to cover typical housing costs, but it may not cover everything. Understanding how rent rates are determined for military housing can help service members plan their housing choices and budgets effectively. The basic allowance for housing provides a standardized amount that reflects the cost of living near duty stations, allowing military families to find suitable housing while maintaining financial stability. In high-cost areas, careful budgeting is essential, as actual rent may exceed the basic allowance for housing.